Welcome back to another episode of SNEED-CAST. On this episode, we'll actually get the chance to interview our VP of Operations, Megan Sneed. Hi, Megan. Thank you so much for being here. So, starting off, how long have you been working at the company?
Just about since its existence. We're going on 5 years now, and I've been here almost from the beginning.
And then, coincidence or not, last name Sneed.
Last name. I do get that question quite a bit. So Brian is my brother-in-law. I'm married to his brother, John. Okay.
And then how did you, as Ken likes to put it, get suckered into the company?
Suckered is a good word. Suckered is a good word. So I've worked all my life, and I was in procurement for an oil field supply company. Okay. After 8 years, I left that company and decided to be a stay-at-home mom for a while. Brian was running the shop out of his garage. He and his wife decided they wanted to go on vacation. Okay. Well, when you're a one-man show, you can't just up and leave. So he called me up, hey, would you mind shipping if I get an order while we're out of town? Sure, I can do that. Here we are, a handful of years later. We've grown a little, but that's how it all started.
So what was the big selling point that really made this job like the it job for you?
Well, in the beginning, I could literally work in my pajamas, out of my house. So that was a huge plus.
Right. And then Megan, I see you here a lot, especially when it comes to like the order department, but that's not everything that a VP of operation focuses on. So what would you say your bigger responsibilities are here?
Pretty much all of it. Operations is in charge of everything that comes into the building, leaves the building. Our department not only processes all the orders, ships all the orders, we manage the inventory, we also manage quality control. We still test every single printer that comes in the building before it is shipped to a customer. That's a huge piece of what our department does.
Right.
Pretty much a little bit of everything.
And I can only imagine how chaotic it is to go from working, say, at home and dealing with only a handful of printers to now having a whole warehouse just full of equipment. I mean, I see whenever we get big shipments and you guys just seem to be checking everything in.
Yes. So when Brian brought me our first inventory shipment, it was a couple printers and 2 different types of ink and just a handful of each. And they fit in a very small closet in my house, and that's where I kept our inventory. Yeah. I would process the orders and drive to the UPS store every day and ship our orders out. It is very different now. Right. Very different. I can remember the first time we had 8 orders in one day. And I just thought, wow, we've hit the big time. 8 orders, and they barely fit in the back of my car. Go to the UPS store, and I ship these 8 boxes. And it's funny to think because now we bring equipment in these huge ocean order shipments. I mean, 60, 80 pieces at a time, all the way up to 40-foot containers. That's crazy in 5 years.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems like a lot of growth. I know at the beginning of this year, we were getting, case erectors, case sealers. The warehouse was just filling up at a crazy rate, so I can only imagine.
It is, and to think that we went from my closet to a huge warehouse, and we're also now utilizing a couple of different 3PLs. We've got some other companies that are helping us out with our supply chain logistics, and it's crazy that all of this has happened in such a short period of time.
Talking about the transition from working at home to now having a warehouse to having 3PLs, what was it like moving into the first warehouse and then our office, and then what was it also like hiring our first hire here?
So going from, well, it's funny because the first transition from my closet was to my dining room, because now all of a sudden we had too much stuff to fit in a closet. So now it's in my dining room, and I'm shipping out of the dining room table. And I actually remember the first time I thought, this is getting ridiculous, driving to UPS and buying these boxes. So I remember going online and placing an order for 25 boxes, because that's how boxes are ordered. They're ordered by the bundle of 25. I thought, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get through these 25 boxes. Well, now we order them by the thousands. So when we graduated from my dining room, we rented a small office space, which is a couple offices, in a little area where we could keep some inventory. Brian, right before we moved, Brian brought on Ken and Charles.
Okay.
Because he needed someone to assist, now sales calls are coming in, tech support calls are coming in. We needed the help.
Right.
Then we moved into that small office space, and the first order fulfillment hire was Daniel. And he actually was hired during COVID, so that was an interesting training process.
Right.
So Daniel was our first new hire in the order fulfillment department. And here we are.
Yeah, no, I've definitely heard about the whole training process. The guys here have that inside joke where it's like Megan's boot camp, so definitely heard about that one.
I hope they say that lovingly, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure they do. Talking about hires, Tyler is obviously your right-hand man here. Yeah, definitely made that known from the beginning.
When Tyler first started, we were actually moving from the old, smaller office space that we were leasing to this building that we're in now that we've purchased. And poor guy, his first several weeks on the job, he would meet me at the old office in the morning, and we would start disassembling racks, breaking down furniture, and then we would move it over here, and he would help assemble racks and just kind of put everything together. So, we jokingly called him Bob the Builder for the first couple of months that he worked with us. So that's his nickname.
Right. And then, now that you have a nice team and everything going, now that it seems to have a solid foundation and everything, how would you say that larger shipments have affected the orders department, warehousing? How would you say that all of that affects your workflow here?
Sure. So the biggest thing is timing, right? We need to know when these large shipments are coming in so that we can make the calendar space for that. Once a large order comes in, we've got to count it all, make sure we received everything we were supposed to, and then Anthony, our quality control team member, he's got to check it all in. So if we don't have everything caught up all the time, we get hit with a large ocean shipment, it can put a hurting on us. So the timing is everything.
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen you guys again. Whenever those large shipments comes in, it's like you guys automatically jump on it. I see Anthony going over, checking everything in. I see you getting everything ready too. So definitely staying busy. Something that was new this year was the implementation of EOS. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So EOS, it stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. And the easiest way to describe it is just a methodology for running your company. We grew so quickly that everybody kind of did their little piece. But we didn't want it to get siloed. Okay, because you've got Charles in the tech department, you've got Ken in sales and marketing, you've got me on the operations side. We were all running our own teams and our own departments, but we felt there was a little lack in consistency, and so we were in a meeting one day, the leadership team was in a meeting, Ken made the comment, something about right person, right seat. And that stuck with me, and I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to know where he'd heard that. Brian told me, we read this book called EOS, Traction. So I immediately downloaded it. I devoured that book in 2 days. And I said, we have to do this. I took it to Brian. I said, we've got to do this. And he said, okay, but if we agree and we start, we're not stopping. And I said, no, we're doing this. So we did implement that. We spent the greater part of last year implementing that and learning it, getting everybody on board. And I think it's done wonders for the company.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's been beneficial. Again, it's great that we each have our own team and that we get to work, like, say for us, it's marketing, and we get to work so closely together, but obviously we have other teams here that are super interconnected. They make everything flow so smoothly, so I feel like EOS has definitely been beneficial for all of us.
Yeah, we're all talking the same language now.
Oh, of course.
So,
yeah, no.
Yeah.
And then also talking about more growth, what would you say it's like working for a startup company? What have you learned along the process?
It's been great.
Okay.
It's been chaotic at times. It happened fast. It happened fast. So we were forced to grow with it. The leadership team had to grow with that. The employees had to pick everything up very fast because there was no time. Once that ball was rolling, there was no stopping it.
Mm-hmm. I know that one of Brian's phrases is, you build the plane as you fly it, correct?
Nothing could be more true.
Yep. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges you guys have overcome, or you as a VP of operations getting to this point?
Where to put stuff.
Where to put stuff. Okay.
Where to put stuff. And that's why we've enlisted the help of some third-party logistics centers. It's kind of just a big game of Tetris.
Right.
That is the challenge. I mean, one challenge was just going from driving a few boxes to the UPS store,
Right.
to negotiating rates with UPS, FedEx, other carriers. Now we're shipping LTL freight. We weren't doing that just a couple years ago.
Right.
Learning that process was a challenge because it is different, obviously, than shipping small parcel. And then just bringing everything in, managing that, coordinating that.
Right.
When it's a 40-foot container and you've got equipment you've got to rent and you've got to offload it, you've got to have somewhere to put it, you've got to have the manpower on standby. Working through that is pretty tricky.
Okay, Megan, so another question that we had for you was, what do you like the most about working here at Sneed?
People.
People?
Hands down, yeah. Brian has really fostered a culture of caring, a culture of fun, teamwork.
Right.
We kind of jokingly say I'm the team mom, but everybody here, we work hard and we play hard. A bunch of you are getting ready to go on a cruise.
Right.
That's fun, but we really do embody teamwork. Everybody jumps in when a big shipment comes in. When there's a little downtime, yeah, there's a little horseplay.
Right.
But when it's time to get after it, we get after it. You know, we triage well, we work through it all. But this is a great place to work.
Right.
Brian has made it very clear that he understands the company's biggest asset is the talent he employs.
I couldn't agree more. There's definitely a time where it's like we're all zoning out. We're all just in our own little worlds, like getting all of our tasks done. And then there's also a time where it's like you can really feel the positive culture that we have here at Sneed because everyone gets together, everyone has a good laugh. Definitely makes the day go by really fast.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I don't think there's anybody here that doesn't love coming to work every day.
Right. So with so much growth over the last 5 years, where do you think the next 5 years are going to put Sneed at?
It's hard to say, but I can't wait to find out. We now have an entity in the UK. We've got an entity in Australia. We plan on tackling some other countries.
Right.
And that, in combination with all of our new product offerings, all of our new filling lines, and just all of the other packaging equipment we're bringing on, it's going to be very exciting.
Right. I can only imagine your thought process at this point. Like, where are we going to put it all?
Where are we going to put it all? That's
Right.
exactly my thought process. Might be looking for another 3PL.
Yeah, no, can't wait to see it though.
Me too.
Lastly, what has it been like learning logistics on the fly? Because you did mention that we've been growing so fast that you kind of just had to roll with the punches, learn as you go. So logistics side of it.
Crazy.
Okay.
Because you need to control so many components, but so many components are out of your control.
Right.
That it's really hard. Again, back to timing. You know, if we need to rent a special piece of equipment to offload this 40-foot container, I need to figure it's the chicken and the egg, right? I've got to get the equipment here, but I don't want it here too soon. I've got to store it and pay for it.
Right.
But once that truck rolls up, I've got to get it emptied. We only have a certain amount of offloading time. So just working through that timing.
Okay. And then lastly, any piece of advice that you would give to entrepreneurs, startup companies, since you've been learning so much for the last couple of years working here at Sneed?
Do it scared.
Do it scared. Okay. So definitely push yourself out of your comfort zone. Just go for it.
Yeah, Brian tells me all the time, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Great piece of advice, Megan. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for all of the information you gave us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, guys, this has been a great episode of SNEED-CAST. If you guys like this episode, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below to stay up to date with all of our great content. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.